What's going on, people? The knife we're looking at today is the Spyderco McBee. Cute and handsome little piece right here. Before we go through anything else, let's do some size comparisons. We got the Reinhold Rhino. Next comparison we're going to do is the ever so sexy Cold Steel Mini Recon spear point blade. Next up, the Yojimbo that I acquired just over a month ago comes into the mix. There's the Yojimbo. Wharncliffe the Wharncliffe. Oh yeah. And for you custom knife fans out there, I have a variation of Randy Doucette's Serpent model. See how that three and 3/4 inch blade just kind of like dwarfs the heck out of this piece. But yeah. Alright, let's get into some specs. And these specs are going to be read through Blade HQ's website here. The overall length is 3.82 inches. The blade length is 1.52. They really wanted to squeeze that 0.02 in there. The cutting edge is 0.49 inches. The blade height from edge to spine is 1 inch. The blade thickness is 1.1 inches, even though I kind of think it's a little bit thicker than that, but yeah. The handle length is 2.3 inches. The handle thickness is 0.4 inches. The height of the handle is 0.875 inches. It is a 1.7 ounce knife made in the Taiwan factory over there in Taichung. And you see the maker's logo here on the locking side. J. McNeese, that's Jonathan McNeese. Alright, let's show you a few things. For those of you who don't have the knives that I have, take 2 bottle caps, put them side by side, and this thing is literally the full length from the spike end of each bottle cap. Literally the length of that right there. And even the height of the handle is the overall height of the knife itself too, from the spike end of the cap to spike end. That's the size of the knife that you're looking at right here. It is a very tiny knife. Has titanium scales. And I know there's going to be a lot of people that say, oh, it's media blasted. It's not media blasted. It's actually a deep, I think a 3rd degree or 4th degree anodization in gray. Though a lot of people may argue that it's a media blast. It's not a media blast. It's actually a 3rd grade or 4th grade anodization step. Is it flickable? Yes, it's flickable. Can you Spidey flick it? Hold on a second. You actually have to position it in a certain way. I'm showing you right here. Actually, yeah, closer to that. can it be Spidey flicked? Yes, it can. Although I will tell you right now, the middle finger and the ring finger are the only ones that can Spidey flick this, because it's so small. And on top of that, you also have to keep in mind that there's no steel boot. There's no steel boot in the lock bar, and nor is there a lock bar over travel arrestor. This is just a classic Reeve integral lock, classic frame lock. The Spidey clip that it's using is reminiscent to one that you see on the Reinhold Rhino, but as you can see, it is much smaller. It's a miniature version of that clip that you see on the Spyderco Reinhold Rhino, as you can see right here. But it's a similar clip. The decoration on the pivot, as well as the lock bar cutout, is reminiscent to the maker, Jonathan McNeice. If you're familiar with Jonathan McNeice's work, and you delved into the custom knife world a while back, you may remember his work such as the A.S.O.K.A, which is basically the same size as a Medford Knives Praetorian Genesis. Has that same type of hide, almost the same thickness, but much more comfortable in the hand. Also, models such as the Dixon, the Skybolt, as well as a smaller version of the Skybolt, which is the Baby Bolt. This piece right here is a design completely based after Jonathan McNeice's Killer Bee, which is 3.5 to 4 times the price of the Spyderco McBee. Speaking of price, this thing in American dollars is $129.97. Here in Canada, you can find it between $182.99 to $187.94. Oh, forgot to mention, has the hourglass back spacers. I believe they're titanium, I'm not 100% sure. Then you have the lanyard hole, a very small lanyard hole. If you compare it to the Reinhold Rhino, and even smaller compared to a Para 3. Now, most people are going to be asking, well, what would I get this knife for? It's real simple. For us knife folk, we're going to be pairing this with a larger folder, or even a larger fixed blade. It's one of those knives that, even for a non-knife folk, it's very small, very easy to conceal in your hand. Very easy in that sense. I even put my thumb there. You can't see what's it. And it's one of those knives that really doesn't scare people. In fact, considering the elegant looks, it is going to be one of those things that people who are not in a knife community are actually going to gravitate towards, as opposed to backing away from when you pull it out. And most of those non-knife folk are going to be using knives of this size for opening boxes. And you can use it this way, you could use it this way, you could pinch grip it, You can go outside, like outside the box and just kind of like, oh yeah. Grip it that way. And there's one of my favorite grips, which is just having the middle finger just cross over it like a cross strap on a seatbelt. Grip it like this and do some cutting. It's on this piece of corrugated cardboard. It's a very nice little companion that doesn't scare anybody, especially the non-knaff folk. A very versatile piece for its size. Can it be operated with the left hand? Yes. It's just like with the Reinhold Rhino. You're going to use your Kung Fu Tiger Claw grip. And there you go. And with the left hand, if you're disengaging it like this, the ricasso right here will hit your thumb. And then from there, get it out of the, get all your digits out of the blade path and close it like that. So can it be operated with your left hand? Most certainly. What are the things that I don't like about it? Well, what most people who get this knife that are not accustomed to knives this size will not appreciate. For one, it's a learning curve, just trying to figure out how to get this thing to work, in, not just in deployment but also in grip. This thing can do so many different grips, and it's thanks to these grooves on the spine here, this Wharncliffe piece. But it is a learning curve when you just get it, if you're not accustomed to knives this small. Next thing that I do not like is the fact that my particular model, doesn't speak for every model, but my particular model has a very subtle recurve. It's very, very subtle. I didn't even see it when I purchased it, but it's just subtle. It's more aggressive right at the heel over here where you see my thumbnail. Yes, my nails are long, I need to trim them, but that subtle recurve is elongated all the way until you reach about here, and then it pops out, and then the edge pops out again, but then the edge goes into a sweep right about here. I forgot to mention that this is XHP steel. But yes, going back to the imperfections of the edge bevel. This is the factory edge. I paired it with my Para 3 M4, and hopefully the camera's gonna work for me here. There we go. Paired it with this, but I've mostly used this throughout the time. It did very well, but at the same time, that obscure grind that the Taichung factory put on it, it's a little bit bad, but I mean, luckily for me, I can fix that. But if you're going through the same thing, it might be a different story if you don't know how to sharpen, especially when it comes to imperfections, multiple imperfections on the edge bevel. Overall, what do I think about this thing? I think it's great. I think of all, like, this is one of those knives that you could carry around and pop open in front of anybody, literally anybody, unless you're somewhere in Europe that doesn't allow locking folders of any size. But this is a really good knife. you can be very versatile with this piece right here. And overall, I think anybody, whether you're in the knife community or outside the knife community, can truly appreciate this piece. If you're in the knife community, you're obviously going to pair it with another knife, like a bigger knife, and just have this one to open boxes, open letters, or carve through small pieces of cardboard. There you go. So that's the knife I'm showing off today. Hope that was helpful, and you guys enjoy the rest of your night, because it's nighttime over here in Canada right now. Okay, people.